Hey tribe, welcome back. I want to do a series of videos about something that is probably greatly overlooked in times of desperation. Something very difficult to plan for, very personal, but very important to understand and to do the best you can to prepare yourself and your family for the psychological changes that will occur when shite has hit the rotating blades, SHTF. Again, I will quote from the authority, a good authority, Jonathan Hollerman, Survival Theory 2. If you don't have it, shame on you. Get it, read it again, read it again. On page 104, he is written from another book, I believe it's called From Red Famine. This is probably the most telling story I could relate. We tend to be normal biased. It's called normalcy bias. We think that no matter what happens, everything and everyone will act the same today as they did yesterday and the day before and the day before, and that's simply not true. You put people into horrible situations and they can do horrible things. This is probably my second most telling, and is quite possibly the most horrifying. Starvation does crazy things to you. You can say that you'll never do anything horrible. I'm a good Christian person. But you don't know until you're there. You just don't know until you're there. And deprive people of the basic necessities of life long enough, and people just go crazy. This story is related of a woman by the name of Varvara. And it goes like this. One survivor recalled the horrific story of Varvara, a neighbor who was left alone with two children. At the beginning of 1933, Varvara took her remaining clothes and traveled to a nearby city in the hope of exchanging them for bread. She succeeded and returned home with a whole loaf. But when she cut the bread, she began to scream. The bread was not a whole loaf. It was stuffed with a paper sack, which meant that once again, there was nothing to eat. We cannot comprehend what these people went through in the 1930s famine in Ukraine. A mother, all alone, trying to feed her two children, takes her clothes and sells them for a loaf of bread. Think about that. Think about how desperate you'd have to be to do that. You have nothing left. You're selling the clothes off your back for a loaf of bread to feed your children. What's your mental state when that happens? How desperate are you? Which meant that once again there was nothing to eat. She took the knife, turned around, stuck it in her son's back, and began laughing hysterically. Her daughter saw what was happening and ran for her life. We cannot comprehend what that's like. I hope I never, ever have to. But you need to understand it. And you need to understand the reality of people behaving that way. How far down to the bottom do you go when you will do those things? Lose your mind, stab your own child in the back because someone cheated you out of some bread. The hopelessness, the utter, complete hopelessness that that woman must have felt is something we don't comprehend. We get whiny over broken nails and scratches on our cars. Think about that in your own life. Start hardening yourself. Start understanding how fragile the system is and what you may be asked to do. Hard decisions. Best to make them now. God bless. Take care.